AI can play, or what role do you think AI can play in making banks more sustainable?
Because it can tell you the changing dynamics in terms of environment, social governance, or even corporate social responsibility, how the markets are interpreting.
Can AI detect sector-wide economic risk?
It is, say, manufacturing, real estate, consumer retailing.
Can AI actually help to improve trade transparency?
It is an opportunity. Global trade or countries' trade, it depends on very many factors. In today's context, there is a reorganization in terms of trade.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Green Generation podcast, where we decode how technology, finance, and sustainability are shaping the future. I am Shruti Seetharaman, your host, entrepreneur, and someone who's curious about how technology and sustainability, but also about how innovation can actually be responsible and sustainable. And joining me today is Dr. Seetharaman, a global banker, a thought leader on corporate consciousness, and with decades of experience in shaping financial institutions across the world, he's here to share some insight on corporate banking. So I'm going to dive right in, and I'm going to ask you, I think, what is a bold question. Is if AI can analyze billions in seconds, so can it actually run corporate banking?
You cannot run corporate banking without human. It involves interpretation, trust, relationship management, and again, making sure you have an integration in terms of overall decision making. So whether it's character or capacity or capital, you need integration to make proper decision. So AI can have speed, but human can give the composure and the value-driven integration.
So it's safe to say traditional bankers are not outdated yet.
No question of outdate. Traditional bankers getting outdated. They are upgraded. That's the right word to use.
Not outdated, upgraded. I think this is a great tagline, guys. Can AI predict corporate collapse before humans see it coming?
Absolutely. During COVID, there were a huge amount of reorganization required in the business modeling. There are stagnation in terms of liquidity. And again, enforcement of the legal framework and the allied collaterals were also into a lot of difficulties. So what's the solution? It was forecasting the inevitable. If there is a downward trend towards the margin or the liquidity or the cash flows, essentially all these are highlighted, including the discounted cash flows, which are required to make sure possible reorganization in terms of your liquidity management. So AI can predict. AI was useful during COVID. Even now.
So talking about now, can AI now start making loan approvals a more fair process?
AI can give you the right interpretation. The patterns will be visible to you. It can give you early warning. It can also tell you the gaps in terms of regulatory alignment. It can enlighten you in terms of the overall weakness in the industry or peer comparison, if it is a corporate. So essentially, it can give you all insight. It is you to interpret this insight and make a proper judgment out of it.
And now what I want to ask, and I think it's a really interesting question, is that can AI actually stop $1 billion fraud from happening?
Absolutely. It can give you the unauthorized, unusual patterns. It can also showcase the intrusion. It can breach of KYC principles. It can also, throw you the locations which are remote, where you are not traditionally dealing with.
Yeah.
It can give you the manipulation in terms of the documentation, manipulation in terms of valuation, because it can look at the patterns, it look at the industry specific, and also peer comparison to tell you this is likely to be fraudulent.
Fair. My next question is that is AI actually changing the power dynamics inside banks?
It is useful. It is not a power center. It creates enormous amount of speed and accuracy. It gives you added value to be a co-pilot to support the overall mission. It is conventional to have manual interpretation, and the hierarchy plays a very real role. But if it is supplemented by additional advantage, speed, and the patterns are revealed, the comparisons are done in no time, your ability to move things faster is there. And again, a process reorganization, project reorganization, policy reorganizations comes into act instantly because of the overall data literacy and also the intelligent inputs it gives you.
And do you think the role that AI can play, or what role do you think AI can play in making banks more sustainable?
Because it can tell you the changing dynamics in terms of environmental social governance or even corporate social responsibility, how the markets are interpreting, how the valuations are taking place, or when you are not committed for ESG, what sort of reorganization taking place in the market for your pricing, stock prices. A good corporate needs a good amount of commitment to the society, right? So that's why it's good. So institutions who are not focusing on ESG, it will expose. If you're engaging in greenwashing, again, it will expose. So definitely, for sustainability, it plays a major role. And again, you can create carbon accounting, again, offsetting carbons. There are plenty of reasons to believe AI will be very, very useful and measurable, quantifiable outcome you will have if you apply AI.
So is it safe to say that AI can help to reduce corruptions, for example, like we spoke about loans becoming a more fair process, or in the lending process, or in any other processes where we might be able to eliminate corruption? Will AI be able to do that?
Absolutely. A supplier or customer, you can always see the integrity in the transactions. The patterns will throw you. If the process is breached, it can enlighten. Any exceptions which you have taken will be showcased immediately, instantly. So anything unusual, anything is, which requires immediate attention.
Yeah.
Now, there are cases where the supply chain is going to be disrupted in few months' time. It will warn you. So you have alternate supply chain.
Yeah.
If there is a geopolitical risk, it can enlighten you. You can make the, counter move. You can map the risk. So plenty of intelligent inputs again from AI.
Yeah, be prepared for a contingent plan or a contingency situation.
Very true.
Fair enough.
Very true.
Okay, and we did speak about how traditional bankers are not outdated but upgraded. But the bigger question is, can AI actually replace jobs in banking?
It can upgrade the jobs. Say, instead of laboring yourself on number crunching, manual filing, manual interpretation of the information, and again, analysis, it gives enormous amount of quality job. It can upgrade your skills. It can also upskill yourself over the period of time in terms of interpretation of these informations. Instead of preparing this, doing the number crunching, data interpretation, highlighting the challenges or the opportunities, you will have relationship management to highest level, because you will also strengthen your focus, which is more strategic where required. Plenty of usage.
Okay, so dwelling slightly deeper into this question, almost like a sub-question, but almost like, can I say, is it possible for AI to almost act like a invisible chief financial officer, for example?
Well, I wouldn't call it as chief financial officer, invisible. It can be a great enabler to the chief financial officer.
Okay, support.
Say manual bookkeeping, manual compliance, management accounting or financial accounting or bookkeeping. It will be value driven, and the chief financial officer role will be upgraded, and he could be a heartbeat away from the decision making in every respect.
So I think it's safe to say that it can be an invisible assistant to anything that you might want, but you still need the human touch. You still need...
It's a companion more than anything else.
Yeah.
It can be a great enabler for you to make your decision.
More productive and effective employees within the bank, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. And who do you think is responsible if AI does make, for example, a wrong credit decision?
AI will not make decisions. AI can suggest you a decision. If a human being has accepted it without his own native intelligence or her own native intelligence, then there is a problem. So accountability lies with human. Whichever be the system he has used, it is with you. The buck stops with you as responsible officer.
Okay, and now a deeper question is that, can AI detect sector-wide economic risk?
It is. See, manufacturing, real estate, consumer retailing. So it could be any sector or services. What trend is prevalent? What is the pattern which is evolving? Instead of we reading physically and trying to interpret, if there is systemic trend analysis or graphical presentation, so it is easy for you to understand where you have to be cautious, where you have to scale up, where you have to scale down. It will be visible. So of course it can give enormous amount of inputs for sectors.
Okay. And the next question is, does AI democratize banking?
It is. Because see, look at individual. Financial inclusion is the name of the game. AI plays a big role in the financial inclusion. You have corporate banking when it comes to small and medium-sized entrepreneurs. The threshold, either revenue or the overall number of people or the contribution, visibly inclusive if you have policy framework support the national development, because that's a backbone. Sustainability comes out of financial inclusion. Sustainability comes out of including the marginalized societies in terms of business, small and medium-sized entrepreneurs. AI can add value.
But do you think we might have a problem in the way that AI will lead to removing intuition out of finance?
You need intuition.
Yeah. So will that be
removed? It cannot be removed. See, what is a judgment? It comes within you, right? After all this analytical framework, the tools which are necessitating the judgment factor, you have to have your own chemistry that's doable. I'm going to do it. I'm going to make this call in terms of lending or investments. I'm going to give this company the money. So, where does it come from? It's judgment within you. Intuition is an integral part of it.
Okay, good to know. At least we're in safe zone. And now my next question is, can AI actually help to improve trade transparency?
It is an opportunity. Global trade or countries' trade, it depends on very many factors. In today's context, there is a reorganization in terms of trade. Post-COVID, and even the supply chains are getting realigned. Trade and investments are interconnected. Trade and payments are interconnected. That's where AI plays a very significant role. Now, trust and transparency is required. Documentation has to be true and fair. There are chances, I should say, there are chances you can slip in any one of the dimensions. AI can fill the gap and make sure you don't pay for duplicate invoices, or you don't finance, trade finance doesn't come in for illegal trade, or even supply chain which are already out of line. So all these things are doable, and AI is a big boon in today's context for corporate banking, corporate trade.
Yeah, and talking about the boons of AI, right? The question is, can AI actually make banks more resilient in a crisis situation?
That's the purpose, isn't it? See, it's an added value. So the society become intelligent. Instantly, you have a support, constant support through data analytics, and interpretation becomes more purposeful. So it serves the meaning.
And if a young finance professional was supposed to learn something, or what do you think is the one thing that a young financial professional should learn?
Data literacy absolutely is essential. Data scientist now is the profession, very important profession. Irrespective of the industry, you need data scientist, because a good corporate needs interpretation of this information, analytical flow, and even redesigning the report selections. So that's a bigger opportunity. Digital dashboards are always a great enabler. And again, making sure it is simplified, oversimplified in terms of business decision making.
Okay.
And that's what youngsters should focus now. Big opportunity.
Okay. And now, another question is, can AI ever get to a point where it can negotiate for $1 billion deal?
Well, it cannot negotiate. Negotiation trust comes out of individuals, right? It can give you all the analytical information.
Yeah.
It can influence your decision. It can give you the rules and the exceptions for you to find ways of strategic negotiation. But it cannot negotiate, right? Human alone can do it. So that's why I said you can't replace human.
Yeah, and I think, like you said, it can't replace intuition. It's not removing intuition. And I think negotiation also has to do a lot with intuition, experience, and that's not something that can come from AI. So,
absolutely.
And now, what I want to ask is also a pressing question, is that, are we actually building smarter banks or more dependent systems?
We are building smarter society, smarter banks. The whole fabric of post-AI or pre-AI versus the current generation is intelligent systems, intelligent people. Again, the state of the world is improving through AI. That's the purpose, isn't it? In terms of banking, it's an important infrastructure for nation building or global functional makeup. So trade or investments, banking plays a role. If it is backed up by intelligent information, it can be more productive, more efficient and purposeful.
So do you think that AI is actually helping accelerate sustainable finance in a way?
It is. It's an accelerator. Sustainable finance in substance is creating enormous amount of purpose-driven lending or investments if it's a financial institution or any institutions which is measuring the carbon trade, doing the carbon trading, carbon offsetting, initiating measures which are responsive for social risk management. AI plays a role.
Okay. And one final question is that, is AI a tool or a future co-leader in banking?
It is not a leader. It's a tool. It's a
Co-tool.
It's a companion.
Yeah.
It's a companion. You can use it to your advantage to ensure it supports your decision-making process.
Yeah. It's like an assistant.
It is an assistant. It can be a great enabler, as I've been saying. So when it comes to corporate banking, whether it is small and medium-sized entrepreneurs, big ticket lending, whether it is corporate finance, structured lending, or even private banking, it can be an enabler and can assist you for decision support.
Yeah.
That's where it stops. You are the main driver. That you cannot ignore it.
Yeah, I think it's
A repetitive task, you can always automate it. Automation was there. Now it is intelligent automation.
Yeah, I mean, AI can process numbers, but leadership requires judgment, ethics, intuition, all of it.
Relationship management.
Relationship management, the human touch, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's safe to also say that banking is not about humans versus machines. It's about humans and machines.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So this was the Green Generation episode on corporate banking. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed this one. We will see you in the next one.
Thank you.
Thank you.